Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 7 of our F1 25 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix at Imola. Yes, we've almost caught up IRL F1 in 2025, but it's safe to say, in terms of the championship, the real-life season has probably been slightly more interesting than what we've had so far inside the game. Lando Norris dominating proceedings, a 51-point lead clear of Charles Leclerc so far. Oscar Piastri still in P3 ahead of Lewis Hamilton. McLaren, a bit more similar to what they're doing in real life, absolutely dominating in the Constructors' Championship as well. But so far, every single team has scored points, which I guess is good going. We are 8th currently in the Constructors' standings and 11th currently in the Drivers' table. Still, admittedly, waiting for Dennis Hauger to get his first points on the board as well there. Norris, he does have a good pattern though. He will not win one race, then win 2, then not win 1, then win 2 again. So if we're kind of looking back through so far this season, we should expect him not to win the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. But of course, you know, stats and things like that are always difficult to read into inside the sport. Of course, if you're new, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed. We're trying to hit 150,000 subs on the channel. And of course, if you're enjoying all the videos and you want to help support us just a little bit more with all the work we do here, click that join button as well. It costs just £1 a month. You get early access to all the videos as well as a few other little exclusive perks and bits and pieces. But yeah, we've kind of got a bit of a problem at the moment. We're doing as many upgrades as we can. We're trying to do as many facility improvements as we possibly can with the team. And we just kind of don't have enough time. Or, sorry, we don't have enough time. We don't have enough... Sorry, we've got too much money and too much R&D, but we are just limited with what we can do right now. So, desperately trying to spend the money we've got. Desperately trying to put as many upgrades onto the car as we possibly can. Annoyingly, quite a lot of them do still keep failing on me, which is a little bit frustrating. But yeah, let's head then here to Imola. Obviously, the first race of the European leg of the season. So hopefully we can have a better race than we did in Miami.
Welcome along everybody to Imola, just down the road from Ferrari HQ, and they know a thing or two about pace, and pace today is king. It's qualifying day, and it's great to have you with us.
Well, everybody trying to find some space then, ready for their final qualifying run. Local lad, Kimi Antonelli there, just trying to get the jump on me in towards the final couple of corners. But how many times have we seen it this season? Very competitive on our first Q1 run, and then just the AI can seemingly find more than I can on the second run. There was definitely a little bit of time left on the table, but not a huge amount here, as I've tried running a bit of a lower floor this weekend. I can feel it bumping away underneath the car, so we are going to have to be very, very careful as we head into the race regarding that one. Nice and tidy though through the first couple of corners, flick the car through the Gilles Villeneuve chicane there. You can obviously attack the curbs a little bit more in certain places, as identical sector 1 split that time round to Pierre Gasly there, who's currently in P15. I would expect to see George Russell improve, as he is right on the cusp as well at the moment in his Mercedes. As don't run wide up through the top of the hill. Super, super careful as we make our way through Aqua Minerale there. Again, you can really attack the curves on the apexes through a lot more of this circuit. Russell, though, now down into the drop zone. Kimi Antonelli can't be particularly safe either there, as I'm not getting the line we needed through the chicane that time round. We really did nail that first time through. Russell is going to bring him back into safety there, but 2 more corners to go. Definitely still a little bit more time to find. Late on the brakes through the first part. We are going to be fractionally up by the time we come through the second. Will it be enough, though, to see ourselves into Q2? I don't think it will. Only P20, and it's happened again. Well, there we are. Lewis Hamilton fastest at the end of Q1, but we've spoke about it before. There definitely seems to be a Q1 jinx inside this series so far. Verstappen ahead of both McLarens as well, so it looks like we could have 3 teams in the fight here. But Lance Stroll, Alex Albon, Gasly, Bortoletto, and our 2 cars out yet again. To be honest, half a second up to Jack Doohan. Not sure I could have found that anyway. So yeah, like I said, we're going to take some new engine components, probably start the race from the back. Hopefully, we can stay out of trouble.
Welcome once again to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari. The clue's in the name. This is very much Ferrari home turf, and the locals will be out in force today to support their team in what we hope will be a magnificent spectacle of motorsport. On then to the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. 3.1 miles of track at Imola featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula 1 tracks as it's taken anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday and he'll start from pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Hamilton, Yuki Tsunoda and Piastri, Russell, Sainz, Antonelli and Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Hülkenberg, Liam Lawson and Behrman, Doohan, Hadjar, Lance Stroll and Alex Albon, Gasly, Bortoleto, Hauger and Callum Voisin rounds off the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway.
Well, I believe, yeah, that rivalry is actually with Williams at the moment. Clearly, James Vowles, of course, hasn't kicked on the start of this season as well as that team did IRL. And again then, obviously we learned from Miami, the one-stop isn't always the way to go. And it looks like here at Imola, the team think the two-stop might be the better strategy. So I think unless something crazy happens, today we're actually going to listen to it. We've got a lot to try and fight our way, though, through the order. So I think we're going to take a bit of a gamble and start on the hards and then go medium to the end of the GP there. So 12 laps on the hards and then medium hopefully will allow us to be quick through the final stint. But from the back of the grid then, let's see what we can do. I reckon points might be possible today if things go our way. The 5 red lights are on. And it's going to be lights out, and away we go then for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Both myself and Hauger getting a slightly better start than the cars in front of us, but can't go anywhere with it. Hauger will try and have a look past Gabriel Bortoleto on the long run down in towards turn 1. Looks like Lando Norris there, trying to make some moves happen against Verstappen there. It's actually one of the Ferraris through and up into the lead of the Grand Prix, so the Tifosi will be loving that through the first couple of corners. We're going to go 3 wide with our teammate and the Kick Sauber car. They're nice and composed through the next couple of turns. Of course, again, we learnt from the last couple of races, absolutely what I cannot do is pick up front wing damage early on here, and especially, starting from the back of the grid on the slightly harder tyre. We just don't need to take much risk on this opening lap, of course. If we can make up some spots, fantastic. As soon as I say that, we will get down the inside of Gabriel Bortoleto as well. But yeah, we just need to try and stay out of trouble. Don't do anything stupid. Just be careful if the AI Constantine are up in a few places as well, because our time will be later on in the GP. It looks like Verstappen has actually lost 2 spots then off the start of the Grand Prix. Hasn't finished on the podium since, I believe, all the way back in Japan quite a few races ago now, so it has been a tough old run of form for the Dutchman. So yeah, he'll be looking today to hopefully try and obviously correct that. Obviously a DNF in Jeddah and 2 5th place finishes in the last couple of races as well, so it has been a tough start to the year for him. But Ferrari, though, I think, whichever Ferrari that is at the front of the order is going to lose the spots to the McLaren, but both of them up into the podium places as Bortoleto will barge his way past me. So I will return the favour through turn 1. Of course, with this being kind of a fairly slow circuit, but then with just one whacking great DRS zone, I think this is going to be a big test to kind of see how much the AI stay bunched up around here. Of course, on F124, you could end up with a DRS strain that was most of the entire field around this circuit, but yeah, I'm not expecting to ever really get much of an advantage from these hard compound tyres in this first stint. Just down the inside of Hauger, we will try and go there. We'll give him a bit of a squeeze through the chicane. I got a little bit close for comfort, and I might have been quite stupid actually in going for that move, as I think it's knocked us both out of the DRS zone of the car in front. So yeah, good job, I'm still the team manager, otherwise I might have some complaints to make there. But as we try and get the power down off of the final turn, it does seem like the AI further up is spreading out a little bit. That Kick Sauber again of Hülkenberg, I think, is running right up in and around the points. They could really build some momentum early on. Well, it is a new day inside F1 25, and clearly uber aggression did not really work for me in yesterday's races, so I'm trying to be a bit more patient here. Just waiting to see whether things come to me. But yeah, Pierre Gasly though, I think Alpine were hoping if they started him on softs, that he might be able to carve his way through the order, or a little bit quicker than he has there, as I didn't know whether he was going to defend or sit on the racing line, but we will make that move work around his outside through turn 1. Happy with that one down into Tamburello. I believe it's his teammate that is causing a little bit of a train at the moment. Duomo suddenly just I think, decided to bolt it. So yeah, Behrman and Hajar and Albon just in front. It's just so easy to upset the rhythm, the balance of the car. You just attack the curb once wrong, and immediately it's trying to break free. Here we go, Gabriel Bortoletto. I haven't seen him for a few laps, but he's clearly just been plotting his revenge against us. And we'll get the run, or back into turn 1 there. Behrman, and a very opportunistic move there from Alex Albon through the first couple of corners. Is going to kind of back everybody up. As back to the outside of the young Brazilian there, round the outside into the Gilles Villeneuve chicane. And I think Behrman's really on the back foot at the moment. I think he's perhaps taken more out of his tyres than some of the other cars around him there. Is really struggling to get the power down off of Tosa. Ferrari power though in the back of that Haas, of course. So pretty good straight line speed there. As two wheels on the grass trying to look around the outside up at the top of the circuit. That one certainly won't work out for me. You can already see he's lost the range to Alex Albon as well, and that whole thing about trying not to be aggressive might just have gone out the window ever so slightly there, forcing Behrman to the inside up at the top of the hill, and around the outside again we will go. Although the AI definitely feel better and can be more aggressive in places, if they're on the inside line into a corner, they do seem to still back out quite early. I believe Carlos Sainz though, and a handful of other drivers into the pit lane at the very end of that lap there. So are we going to see anybody in front of me? Isaac Hajar, he's had enough on that set of the mediums as well, so definitely starting to see more pitters. Oh no! Charles Leclerc!
They've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
Oh, that is a big shame for Ferrari at their home Grand Prix. Leclerc never really has had much luck around this circuit. Of course, binned it in 2022, and most of the other Grand Prix have been disastrous, and well, that is not the end to the race he would have wanted. A safety car would have been absolutely perfect for us, sort of drifting our way through the chicane at the top of the hill, but we've just been absolutely getting hunted down by the two Spaniards. Carlos Sainz, of course, a DNF late on in Miami. Fernando Alonso, just a terrible weekend all round. So both of those two looking to be a lot more competitive this weekend, as we're starting to see a few cars coming off of the medium. But yeah, this is the time when we've got to try and come off our hard compound tyre. The pace hadn't completely fallen apart on them. They were definitely starting to slide around a lot more underneath me. And I'm kind of hoping that we're going to come out not a million miles away from our teammate Gabriel Bortoletto once again, once we get onto a fresh set of the mediums.
Right, let's go. Come on. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one.
I think we're going to be a couple of seconds behind them, which is a little bit of a shame. But it gives us a bit of a window to obviously use these fresh tyres. There goes Bortoletto. And yet we will program in with the team then that when we next box, we'll be taking a set of soft tyres to the end. That'll be at about lap 24. Oh, big lock up there coming from someone. I believe that was Ollie Behrman. Whoa, just a couple of cars in front of me as I was originally trying just to slowly ease these tyres in. But little mistakes like that through the exit of Aqua Minerale won't do us any favours. I think Carlos Sainz now is leading this race, which must be quite a good feeling for Williams as well there. A really, really good showing so far from the Spaniard yet again. But we need to try and make some moves there. Looks like I think it's our teammate Hauger that is potentially slowing up quite a few cars here. As Bortoletto now going to try and line up a move on Ollie Behrman. Back down in towards turn 1. Can we try and use the battery, or we're going to get a big old squeeze? Bortoletto as well doesn't really want to give me the inside line, but we will find an avenue there. And I think they both kind of realise that we are not their fight right now. Let's go get our teammate. But again, Hauger doing a very, very good job in this race so far. Kind of, you know, he's not doing better than a load of people, but he is kind of finally battling with the rest of the running order here, which he certainly was not doing in those opening couple of races. Oh, he's even thinking about trying to go for a move on Liam Lawson up at the top of the hill, but as we make our way through the chicane yet again, it's so satisfying when you get the power hooked up on the exit there. As I've said before, traction, it's not difficult still necessary on this game, but it is definitely less easy than it was inside F1 24. But we went for a double overtake last lap. We're going to try and see if we can do the same thing here, as Liam Lawson is going to have two gold livery cars to try and defend from. Thought there might be an avenue to the inside down the start-finish straight. We'll have a look around the outside of him, around the outside of our teammate as well. And again, Hauger doesn't put up too much of a fight there. Let's really push on now. Oh, Albon I think is really trying to use up all the good stuff left on his worn-out set of the medium compound. And well, Williams I was not expecting to be ahead of today, but that's exactly what we're going to do. Past the Thai driver then, who's had a bit of a tough weekend here. It kind of feels like with Williams so far this season, one of them can have a good weekend. It can be either of them, but it's only ever one each weekend inside this series. But luckily for me, the AI kind of spaced out in such a way that we can use the DRS to get past one, and that kind of brings us into the range of the next. Doing, though, a few seconds up the road, so we are going to have to try and push if we can get past Hadjar. There we go, we'll do it in, and Isaac Hadjar both into the pit lane then, alongside Lance Stroll and I believe Nico Hulkenberg, so we are temporarily going to be back up inside the points here. I'll get into the pit lane as well, but there is not a chance we could try and drag these medium tyres another 8 laps in this Grand Prix. We have well and truly spent everything that was available on them. Let's just make sure I don't get done for speeding. That one was quite touch and go there, but luckily we got the car stopped. But Hulkenberg then is going to move back up into 9th place for the second weekend in a row. How much work are we going to have to do, though? We should be one of the fastest cars on track towards the end of the GP, but we're going to have a lot of work to do to get there. I'm hoping we're going to be out ahead of our teammate again. It was doing a good job holding up a few of our other back markers, but we're going to be about an entire sector behind Hulkenberg here by the time we get back on the road.
See these tyres through to the end now.
We're not going to give up. We are certainly not going to give up, but I'm not optimistic inside the final 8 laps that we're going to be able to get back to the points. Well, must admit, I am loving the fact when you do get some different strategies on this game, just how much the offset can make a difference here. Just trying to get a run then on Isaac Hadjar up the hill. Really good traction out of Tosa there, and down the inside we will go. Not a lot he can do there. Through the top of the circuit and back up into P16. I think Doohan's probably almost sensibly going to be able to manage here or in the final few laps, but you can see already we're taking loads out of these tyres. Well, unless Pierre Gasly and Jack Doohan have an almighty battle on this final lap, we are certainly not going to be able to get to those guys. A couple of mistakes made by myself, but ultimately, yeah, the soft compound tyre, they are awful around this Imola circuit. But in towards the final few corners, though, of the Grand Prix, it looks like Max Verstappen is going to finally return to the top step of the Formula 1 podium. It has been a tough old start to the campaign for the Dutchman, but just like he did IRL, Verstappen through the final couple of corners of this Grand Prix, it is going to be P1 for him. Meanwhile, for us, well, I've lost a place to Isaac Hadjar, and I might lose one to Liam Lawson as well. These tyres are absolutely gone. Verstappen, though, the Dutchman, will claim glory. Again, Lando Norris, like we said, that pattern of lose one, win two, lose one, win two. I guess we already know then who's going to be winning the Monaco Grand Prix next time out, of course. But yeah, I mean, these tyres, you know it's a bad situation when the warning light's shown up. Because normally that means on this game they're about 10% more worn than you would ever want them to be. But unfortunately, yeah, soft compound tyres were not the ones to go with. I think had we gone with the mediums, we could have potentially been battling with Albon and the Alpines by the end of the Grand Prix. But again, you know, this first season is just about trying to learn, and we are certainly gaining a lot of extra knowledge of F1 25 as well. In towards the final few corners of the Grand Prix, a tough old day once again, but honestly, I feel like we've turned a corner here. Hopefully that gives us some confidence as we head to Monaco. P17, it's okay.
The checkered flag is out. We're going to be hearing that Dutch national anthem again because it's victory for Max Verstappen.
They led from lights out to the flag at the end, and their race victory was never in doubt, was it? Brilliant stuff by them.
And once all the hard work is over, and after lap of brilliant racing, it's time now to celebrate with our podium trio. One of the all-time greats celebrates yet again. It's another podium, it's another top step for Max Verstappen.
Well, there we are then. Max Verstappen will claim victory here at Imola. He was able to keep Oscar Piastri a bit of an arm's length by the end of the afternoon. Only your top 7 cars able to make the one-stop work today. Everybody else forced into doing a 2-stop strategy. You can see Tsunoda joined the Dutchman and the Australian on the podium. Lewis Hamilton, the remaining Ferrari there, annoyingly for him, not able to walk away with a trophy. World Championship leader Norris down in P5 ahead of those 2 Mercedes cars. Carlos Sainz, Alonso and Hulkenberg will round out your top 10 here. Ocon, best of your non-point scorers there in 11th, and just Charles Leclerc that failed to see the checkered flag. Hauger able to get the better of Behrman this weekend, so clearly the car is slowly taking steps in the right direction as well. What does that do to our championship? Well, it means Piastri now is up into 2nd place there, as Leclerc will lose spots to both him and Max Verstappen. Still ahead of Lewis Hamilton, though, and Yuki Tsunoda there, as Russell not a million miles away. Kimi Antonelli will jump himself up into P8 and kind of join now those big 4 teams inside your top 8 overall. Ocon still in 9th ahead of Gasly and myself, but we are now tied with Fernando Alonso there, and Hulkenberg, he could really be one to watch throughout the rest of the season if he's able to keep those points rolling in. Ollie Behrman, Lance Stroll, Hajar, Bortoletto and Hauger are the only ones yet to score so far, so 5 drivers from 5 different teams. Constructors-wise, McLaren now with a 79-point buffer ahead of Ferrari. Red Bull closing in the gap in P3, they're ahead of Mercedes. Alpine and Williams tied on 20 points apiece. We are now tied with Aston Martin as well, of course. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns for the jewel in the crown. We'll be back for the Monaco Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss that.